My name's Max. Hello. I was sort of your outgoing half of the session secretary this past time. That was an interesting experience that I had some support from my sponsor to put my name forward to do it, and I did it, and I was great, and my life's been fairly steady, massively thanks to Alanon for the 2 years running up into getting the commitment, and then my life changed like about 2 months after taking the commitment, and so I wasn't able to come, but it was interesting being able to use the program around that experience. Like I was going to be gone a month, so I organized everything I could organize, and then didn't have any power beyond that, let everybody else do whatever they want to do, and then found out while I was away that it was going to extend for another 2 months. So then taking the information as soon as I had it and contacting America and the person here and trying to being able to work a program around so that I didn't feel like a big piece of trash, because even as I sit here now, I feel as if I've done something wrong. Just because I didn't do my commitment that I couldn't do because I was 9,000 miles away. So I can, by the way, to be clear, I gave up the commitment and said they should get someone else in December, just to be super clear. But it's nice to be sat at the front speaking about, because I couldn't want to talk less, and I love talking about this stuff. I love talking in general. I love being heard. It's relatively new because of Alanon. That's the time when I particularly felt as if I was being heard, and especially with your traditions and your rules, which, well, they're not held up with the strength of law, I suppose, but like the crosstalk thing, all those things allows me to put my hand up in the air and say what I think is going on for me and what I feel like, without someone going, that's not reality. I also enjoyed the beginning, because I've been really pissed when we've done the name thing and it goes round and, it's not right and all that stuff. But what I love today is that seemed like maybe the most chaotic one I've seen. But the reality is, like Alanon, the structure of this program means every mother in here is going to have their name said. It doesn't matter what order it goes in, and it's not up to me to dictate. In my Max, not Alanon, in Max's Alanon experience, it's not up for me to dictate how the room is supposed to say their names. And so it's uncomfortable, but today it wasn't. I actually really enjoyed it. Because everyone gets their name said. And it is a bit chaotic in the world, in case you didn't know, being an ACA Alanon meeting. So that's been my issue, is that growing up the way that I did in a family disease of alcoholism, I'm profoundly affected. It has beyond debilitated me, and that's not hyperbolically. Like, I have not been able to live a life. And I'm very aware, since I was a little boy, I was told I was lucky, and so I believe that story. And it's not that one's not true, but it's a part of a story. It's like a chapter or something. Like, there's a lot of other chapters that were completely and utterly denied and hid. And I hid them from myself, which is the thing that's been really uncomfortable. That coming to Alanon, I was coming for a year, and then I found out, coming to this meeting, that it was ACA focused, and finding out what ACA was. And then finding out that being an ACA is as important for me to come to terms with and seek support with as being an Alanon. And so we follow the 12 steps and 12 traditions of Alanon here, but it's really important for me to say that there are, if ACA rings the bells, that there is other ways to get that support as well. But as for Alanon supporting my ACA, if I'm an adult child, it just means that I'm not child like it's a bad thing. I'm responding to life from the viewpoint of someone who has been hurt, and it's childlike. And that's probably because I didn't have the opportunity to be able to develop beyond the point of protecting myself in that childlike state. And the funny thing about it is, you can be incredibly smart, you can be incredibly willing, you can be incredibly self-will driven, and try and build yourself a nice life, but there might be certain areas, in my case, a lot of areas, where I don't understand how people walk around doing what they're doing. I don't understand how you can make that happen. And I lived in the story that my parents were fantastic. I didn't ever hear a bad word about my family. It was a sponsor way into 12-step, a third one or something like that, finally said, your dad sounds like a fucking dickhead or something like that. And that's the first time, like 3 decades almost, that I'd heard someone say a bad word about these people. And there was proper sexual abuse, direct, which I only discovered recently in the last year too. When I say discovered, I mean like hardcore outside therapy helping me to figure it out. on the structure and basis that this program has provided me with the safety to be able to actually reveal that to myself. And then emotional, obviously, spiritual, because if they not only played God, God doesn't exist and all those things, they're making themselves deities. So they are it. And so that's spiritual abuse as well. You can throw that in there. Physical. And I denied all of this and tried to think I was the lucky one and get on with my life. So all I did was walk around, edgy as fuck, raging, or the biggest doormat in the world. And so mostly doormat, but then as my Alanon friend said, I'm an explosive. I've been an explosive doormat. That's what it is. Like, I'll let you step on me, but it's on my terms that you don't know about. And if you step on me incorrectly, we're both going up. And I've been coming here really regularly, and then that leading to understanding I'm an ACA, and then seeking more ACA Alanon, and then getting additional help outside for that. Going to a trauma school, a bunch of other outside things came because I came to Alanon, because this is about keeping the focus on myself. And what initially brought me in was a relationship, sober alcoholic girl, that was like a non-relationship, even though we were immensely codependent. And it was a nightmare, and we were done, but I wanted to actually kill myself, even though I knew that we shouldn't, and I didn't have any idea why that was happening. So I was completely lost. So I cried for a long time in here, and then found out, oh look where you come from, because it was put on me, like when I was an issue in my house, and when I came out of my house, even though I never really left my house till Alanon. I jokingly said before, my sponsor, when we started the steps, said, it's probably going to take a year or two to disentangle you, or whatever the word is, from your family. And I was like, in my brain, I was like, what? Fuck off, mate. I didn't come here to disentangle I just want to get things in order and go on. What do you mean? And it turned out he was absolutely correct. That's how long it took for me to become financially and all those things. And just to be uber clear, they were using money that I'd given them to give to me, and we were all pretending that it was their money. And all of these things I didn't know. So a phenomenal codependence. So Alanon, in the face of that, asked me to see, what do I need? What do I need? And I didn't know. So I needed people in these rooms to help me, show me what does that actually, what is a need? And then what is a want? What is a foundational, fundamental requirement for living? How do I go about achieving that? Or acquiring that, or working towards that? All of these things that I absolutely was not taught. So I was the parent when I was 5, and then denied that was the reality, and then still acted like the dutiful son. So one day at a time, I'm taking responsibility for what's going on inside. And even after 4 years, which is still not that long, after 3 decades, it's not. Which is a shame, but it's also great, because so much has unbelievably changed, but I'm still living a lot of my life by myself. And that's what I want to say before the end, is that my life's drastically changed again in the last few months, and these amazing things are happening. And what I'm finding is circumstances, however they change, that I go home and behind closed doors, I'm on my own. And I've always been on my own. There wasn't a grandparent who came in and knocked on the door and came in and see if I was all right after whatever had gone down that day. No one fucking came. And I was only in Alanon when I realized that, and I'm fucking angry. Because the shit that went on in that house shouldn't go on fucking anywhere. I'm only 4 years in and starting to get in touch with the level of fucking anger that I feel. So that makes me very edgy. So I feel as if I'm performing when I leave my house, because I'll get into altercations that we're used to, and now I'll be like, how do we not do that? And so I feel as if I'm putting a performance for people, anyone. So when I go behind closed doors, I feel how edgy I still am. But I'm with God, something greater, because I have no power over the disease of alcoholism, or my first feeling or thought. I try to just soften those edges, and I'm coming to accept that they're there for a reason, and I'm not going to hurt anybody with them. And if I can, there's an amends process. But in the meantime, I'm accepting the fact that, I've been by myself most of my life, and I would like to share what's going on with people, but it's really hard for me to do, because I feel so edgy when I finally get the door closed at home. And the last thing, which I can't believe I'm going to say, is that it makes more sense. politician, they're not actual ones, by the way, metaphorically, my politician parents who everyone loved, that's what they were doing as well. They come behind closed doors and they were edgy as shit, and I was the fucking punching bag, target, toy, and scapegoat. So it annoys me that, because feel like even with recovery, that's what I'm going through now, is understanding that dynamic. And I don't want to be edgy behind closed doors and feel alone. I'd like to be able to have people behind those doors with me, and I don't yet know how to do that. But this has helped so far, so I'm going to keep going because I can't believe how much it's changed. So if you're new, I really hope that you give yourself a shot to be heard, whether it takes a year to put your hand up or a day, because I needed to be heard to get this ball rolling. I needed to hear me. I hope you got something. If you didn't, go to a different Alanon meeting. I'm not being funny. Thank you. Thanks for all the shares. I really appreciate them today. So I want to try and take the few minutes, see there's a massive amount of solution. But, you know, when I came in, like, I was wanting a solution, but I really need to identify what the problem is. I have to actually feel the problem. And maybe some Alanons have felt the problem for years, but I was trying to do everything I could not to feel. So in order to get to solution, and they can happen at the same time. Somebody mentioned, which I really appreciate, this is a spiritual program, and so I'm dealing with a spiritual malady. It's not teaching me how to go maneuver you and move you like chess pieces in order to actually make it so that I feel okay. It's that I have no power over all of those things. So with the focus on myself, it's a spiritual malady where therefore it's not going to be just A plus B equals this. It's asking me to ascribe power to something that isn't my own brain and experience. Because if I was just going to try to reorganize the furniture of Max's room, then I would just do that and then go and attack the world again or defend myself in the world again. But that's not what this is. I'm trying to make it, I've been others focused. I was taught that, it was modeled to me, it was ingrained deeply. I'm trying to bring that focus back, and it's taking everything out of the horizontal and trying to move it into the vertical. And there's three things. There's a higher power, which I don't understand. I can't understand. If I understand it, I'll wrestle it to the ground. And then there's me, the adult self that Alanon develops and spiritually supports, so that I can then parent the wounded child, the creativity, the authenticity, or however else that I choose to think of it being. Those three need to be in that order. And so coming to Alanon allows me to connect with a higher power through prayer, meditation, and sponsorship, and coming to meetings. And then I get the opportunity to be there for my wounds. And I can ask the appropriate people at the appropriate time, and you taught me what appropriate is, to try and get the support that I need from other people, because I can't do this by myself, in order to help me with that kid. The nice, beautiful thing is that the kid also has a direct line to a higher power. And what that means is that the kid is beautiful and free and authentic and connected to the thing in my estimation of how I perceive my higher power as all of the beauty there is. So my adult parent that Alanon helps is actually just making it so that I keep people at a reasonable distance. I pay the bills. I go to a job. I make sure that I have sociably, appropriate relationships with people, so the kid can do his thing, so he can play, so he can interact, so he can have fun. Because the adult's job really is just kind of boring. It's just to maintain relationship, in my estimation, and what's been shown to me, it's been helpful for me. But the thing in doing that, the more that I've done that, the bigger the feelings that have come up. And so now I want to just quickly say that fear and excitement, really good things have been happening. I've had so much fear because I've been doing so many things I didn't want to do when I've been in this program outside of the rooms for so long. And so before I came, but now I'm doing things that I want to be doing. I couldn't really be wanting to do them any more than I am. But the feeling of excitement is exactly the same as fear for me. I can't believe it's exactly the same feeling. There's no difference. So right now it kicks off tomorrow. It really kicks off, and it's going to be going for a month and out longer. And my body woke up this morning and I was scared. But moments I've realized I'm actually excited because this cool thing's happening. I can't tell the difference. And so, of course, I'm going to seek excitement in my life because I can't tell the difference between things that cause me fear and cause me excitement. And so separating out and then having a bit of compassion for me, the adult, and me, the kid, and allowing a higher power at the care of something greater to be there for me, to be the ultimate parent for both of us, and to keep I'm going to keep going back to the horizontal. I'm going to keep going back to I need you or this or that to be this, so I'll be okay. And it's not. I need to pull that back in and go to God and be with the kid. So it's always pulling it back, because it's not about you. And in a weird way, which has been confusing for my brain to understand, which is why it's a spiritual solution, it's not about me, but this program is all about me. So I wanted to take it away from you-centered to being sort of subjectively self-centered, to be a bit more God-centered. And that's very, whatever words, right? But it makes sense from my experience of doing this day to day, and then trying to apply the things that people suggest. So I'm just trying to think, is there anything else that has been really helpful for me before we end? Because I'm just trying to think solution. So I feel panicked all the time. That's why I was saying the 3rd step and 7th step prayer repeatedly with my eyes closed when people were doing the readings, because I didn't feel ready to talk, because I feel so fragile, because things are going well, and it makes me angry that I don't feel that way at all, and so I don't want to talk about it. I don't want anyone to fucking ask me about it. And this is what this is what life is. This is it. And it was like that before, but weirdly I was okay with it when I was struggling my arse off, and that was the last thing. That was what it was. Is that it's really uncomfortable for me to realize that not only have I confused pity with love, and it took me a while to understand it and feel it, but I've pitied people that I've loved, and want to take care of them, support them, survive, and make them better, fix them. But the one that's annoying is that I need to seek pity from you for you to love me, especially if I'm going to wear a hat, especially if I'm going to put on shoes that I wanted to buy. I can't. I see that time. Thank you about that. I can't. I'm not allowed to seek love unless there's pity involved, and you have to see something broken about me for us to be all right together. And fuck that. But that is a week-old information, and so I'm very uncomfortable right now. And I've got anger about that. So I can't. I'm unmanageable. I can't deal with it. But Alanon can. Thanks, Steve.